What's up, nerds? I just got back from Alaska. So, I've wanted to go to Alaska since I was a little kid. When I was in I think kindergarten, first grade, my grandma went to Alaska and lived in an RV for like 2 months because her husband at the time, the guy who I consider my grandpa, owned a trucking company, and they had to do something with the trucking company there. And she came back and would not shut up about it. And even as a little kid, I was like, I have to go to Alaska. And so she would make us watch a lot of those Disney movies that were in Alaska, like the one with the birds and the plane and that girl crashes or something, I don't know. And then I read The Hatchet in school, and then Into the Wild, the movie version of the book came out, and just my whole life there's been little things about Alaska and that just reminding me I gotta go there, I gotta go there, I gotta go there. And finally I got the opportunity to go. It was on a cruise, which is not my ideal way to get there, but nevertheless, I went to Alaska and I took a sketchbook, and I'm gonna show you everything I drew there. I took a brand new sketchbook and tried to fill it as much as I could. So first I'm gonna show you the materials I brought with me that were travel sized, fit into my backpack, fit into a fanny pack that would fit within my carry-on backpack, and then we'll do the sketchbook tour. And I won't ramble anymore, let's go. Okay, so this is the actual sketchbook. You've probably seen, if you watch me, you probably have seen me use these before. They're so cheap, they're $4 to $6 for one of these little square sketchbooks that lay super flat. It is a mixed media sketchbook from Soho Urban Artist. I got it at Jerry's Artorama. All the materials I'm going to show you, if I can find them online, I'm going to post a link, and anything that's from the Dick Blick website, I'll get a little kickback from if you buy it. But on the trip, I tried to buy some stickers to cover it in, and I'll show you that in the tour. But let me show you everything I have. So this is the little bag that I bring with me, usually everywhere. I wear it more as a crossbody bag. It's an Adidas fanny pack, and I can fit a lot of crap into it. So I always bring this little camera with me, which is a Camp Snap camera. I have not looked at the pictures from my trip yet, but I'm very excited to do that. It's like a digital camera that doesn't have a screen, so you just take pictures, not like your phone where you're gonna retake a picture over and over. Anyway, so I always bring this nasty, raggedy, old towel for painting. I hate carrying paper things like paper towels, shop towels. I just never remember to restock them, so I always just bring a towel instead. This is a little travel spritzer that I found with just water in it, to revitalize my gouache palette. I think they got this in the travel section at Target, so that way it's TSA approved. It's less than 3 ounces or whatever. This is a little water cup that clamps onto either the side of the sketchbook or onto your palette, whatever. It's typically made for plein air oil painting, but this comes off. It's all metal, and I usually just pour water in, and my dirty water, I just put the screw cap on as tight as I can. Sometimes it leaks, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, that's easy, great for travel. I saw this in a YouTube video recently before my trip, and I was like, I have to buy one of those. So this is called a nurse's clipboard. It was a little more expensive than I wanted it to be, but it has been one of the best tools, because I put my sketchbook here, I clamp it with I'll show you the clamp I use, and then here with the little clipboard part, I put my little fold up gouache palette, and then this also folds in half. I'm assuming for nurses they put it in their pocket. That's why it's called a nurse's clipboard. But yeah, this has been a great tool because it also folds up to be so small and fits in my bag easily. So, done with all that. So now I have all the supplies that fit into this. This is just a little bag from Big Bud Press. My partner bought it for herself and it never ended up using it. It has one big zip pouch and it has these 2 big pockets in the front. So in the pocket in the front, I have this really cool clamp holding together my palette, My friend Ashley gave this to me. Her mom got her a bunch of those or something. So this is a really cool palette. It folds up flat like this, and then it magnets together. And usually this little water cup I'll put on this little flat part right here, or I'll clamp it onto the clipboard like that. Yeah, so right now I just have a bunch of gouache in there. This is the palette. Obviously I haven't cleaned it. It's been such a great little tool to have for like really quick watercolor or gouache that doesn't take up that much room. Sometimes those little tins you buy that are already preset with the watercolor colors, sometimes they're kind of thick. I do have one, I do like it, but sometimes I want gouache, and this is a great one for gouache because it's also holds a lot more colors. And I know the little cups are small, but the having the more spots for colors is nice. So I brought washi tape with me in case I needed to tape in some stuff. You'll see it in the video. I did do that. I have a very full, oh my gosh, let me dump that. Color pencil sharpener. I always make sure I bring one that holds the shavings for me. I don't want to be making a mess in nature and have bright colored pencil shavings all over, you know, littering. I don't want little animals to eat that. I'm sure that's not good for them. Okay, let me put these back in, and then I will show you everything inside that I brought with me. So this is the brushes that I have. My friend Naomi got this for me. Shout out Naomi, I know you're watching. She got this for me on Amazon. These are little brushes that you fold and unfold. Usually these kind of brushes are like pretty expensive, but she said this was pretty affordable. And then it just collapses, I don't know what word I'm using, like that to be a brush. There's 4 different sizes that it comes with, and then it comes with this nice little leather carrying case. And then I also have a really small brush in here somewhere. Yeah, it fits within this that I got on St. Louis Art Supply, which I've shown probably before. Also folds in within itself. Super tiny little guy. Really good for, oh my god, really good for like fine tip, like little trees and stuff like that. Yeah, so he also fits within the ones that already came in there. Let me fold this back up. And then the rest of the crap I brought, this has been the best storage solution I've found for all of these things. It's not great for keeping it organized, but it keeps it a little more flat in my bag without like taking up too much room in my bag, so I can have like bigger things like the water bottle and like the nicer cup I like for water and stuff. So I brought a variety of Prismacolor pencils. This was the darkest color I had. It's blue indigo, and it did start as a normal sized pencil, and at the end of the trip it has become this small. So I think that's pretty impressive. Otherwise, yeah, I just have like random various different greens, yellows, lots of like nature-y colors. I didn't bring any black. And then I also brought these cool markers that I bought at this place called Feliz Modern here in San Antonio. Here, let me show you the rest of the pencils. These are all the colors, if you can see them. And then plus those few I just showed earlier. Yeah, nothing too crazy. Didn't bring any browns. I kind of just made brown with watercolor or with a marker. Anyway, back to these markers. So these did come in a set that was bigger than this. Oh, dropped one. A set that was bigger than this, but not all of them would fit. And I didn't have, so if I would have brought all these markers, I would not have had room for color pencils. So I really had to pare down what pencils I brought, what markers I brought. Again, did not bring a black. The darkest color is probably like this green, the brown, and this blue. You know, nature doesn't really have black going on. A lot of things don't really have black. Like if you really look, even at nighttime, like there's probably more like purple and indigo and blue colors than black. Like pure black doesn't really exist in nature. So I just didn't feel the need to bring that. And even when I'm painting, I don't tend to use a lot of black, and they teach you that in art school. I mean, I always take what art school tells you with a grain of salt, but I mean, if you tend to really look at nature, like black doesn't really exist. So these markers are cool because, first of all, this is the Ooly brand. They have fun stuff. So the cool thing about this is that it is tapered to be a little fatter on this end and smaller on this end, so that you don't have to know which end is the brush. The fatter end is the brush tip, and the thinner end is the fine tip. That is, I think, a great design. These are probably just made for kids, but nevertheless, they are very fun. They're very similar to like Tombow markers, if you've ever used those. And they're relatively cheap. That whole pack of like 20 of them or 15 of them was like 15 bucks, I think. And then lastly, the last material I brought with me, I didn't end up using it that much, is this Uniball Signo broad white pen. It works okay. I have not really found a white pen that I like very much. I might just start using or bringing either a Posca or Sharpie Creative Marker as my white to put on top of for like little highlights and stuff. Because a lot of the time, I've gone through probably like 10 different white pens, and either they like dry out too quick, they're too gloopy, or they aren't very like saturated. And I've tried like a bunch of different brands too, and like I just have not found one that I really like. If you have one you do like, let me know. Send me a link. Put it in the comments, please, because I'm struggling out here with white pens. Okay, anyway, let's get into the sketchbook tour. Thank you for watching all that. I know that was long. Okay, like I said, I bought a bunch of stickers, different places. I thought this one was funny. These two were from this place called the Alaska Raptor Center, where they rescue birds and either keep them for the rest of their life or they release them back into the wild. This one is from the Fortress of the Bears. It's a place where they also help out orphaned cubs and keep them for the rest of their life, because otherwise the animal control, if they find like a bear cub, will just be, well, they'll be called and they'll get shot. So that place started as a way to counteract that. They have a few brown bears, a few black bears, and they had tons of eagles just flying around, which is cool. So this place, Icy Strait Point, is a place you can only get to by cruise boat. It's made only for that, but it is next to this little town called Hoona that you can walk to if you go there. I just like the like shimmery shiny of this. Anyway, let me get into it. So normally when I start a sketchbook, I put my name, I put when I started it, my contact information, which obviously I'm going to blur out. Yeah, so I put started 6/13/24 on my Alaskan cruise. This first page, I was just sitting at my in-laws' house waiting to go to bed before the flight, so it was kind of just random doodles. I was looking up Duran's art that I liked from a show I saw in Houston and kind of getting the feel of like using lots of colors on landscapes. These are two of his works that I've copied. This was, okay, hold on, before, I did these two before. This was their dog, Luna, and this was from a photo I saw of a cow that I thought was cute. So when we got to Seattle, that's where we like embarked onto the ship from. I had a really good turkey sandwich, and so I put turkey sandwich was awesome, and I drew my hand holding a fork. And this was a ticket from the Chihui Garden there, which is like near the Space Needle, which is really cool. Really glad I got to go there, because there's this huge glass sculpture downtown San Antonio at the library and at the San Antonio Art Museum, a Chihui's work, and he's so cool. This was on the airplane from Seattle, or to Seattle from Dallas. My partner was watching Sex and the City, so I put that on her phone. I don't remember why this ended up being like that. So these are some big sculpture flowers that were near the Space Needle. Obviously there's a Space Needle. This was from one of our excursions. I just stuck that in there. This was the place I had a great turkey sandwich, 5 Points Cafe, that was near our hotel. This sign up here had said, "Be nice or leave." There was a neon sign in the window that said "Cook on duty," but somebody put a piece of black tape and it said "Cock on duty," so I was like, I have to draw that. This says, "Went to bed at like 6 p.m., woke up at 5 a.m., and it's so bright outside in Seattle." This was when we went to eat at Pike's Place. I don't remember what restaurant we were at, but that was the view from the restaurant. And then I just grabbed this leaf from a tree in Seattle because I thought it looked like a weed leaf, and I was like, that's pretty funny. Here was 5 Points Cafe again. We went there not only for dinner when we got into Seattle, but we went the next morning for like a really, really early breakfast at like 5 a.m. because all of us were awake. Because Seattle is 2 hours behind Texas hours, so we were definitely awake. Here is a drawing I did in the hotel from a photo I took at Pike's Place. Tried to get lots of the colors of the food and stuff. Very happy with how that one came out. This one was when we were finally on the boat. So when you're on the boat, you have a lot of free time the first day because you don't sail for like an hour or two after you get onto the boat, and you haven't got your bag yet. Not much is open yet, so I had a lot of time to sit on the deck from our suite, and we got to see the skyline, which is perfect. So when I started to do this, I had to obviously make sure I got the Space Needle and then whatever this was right here. But then I started to do very specific buildings, and then I started to realize, like, oh, there's no way I can get every single building in here. So I made sure to just, like, maybe get the colors a little bit, so it's not totally accurate, but, you know, as long as I have that and, like, where all these little antennas and, like, the crane was and stuff, I think it, you know, it looks like Seattle. That alone makes it look like Seattle. So we stayed in, like, the nicer part of the boat, called the Haven on the Norwegian Bliss, and in the Haven so the regular people that are not in the Haven have an observation lounge, and the Haven, this was basically our version of the observation lounge. It was just a little bit smaller, a little quieter. It was fantastic. And so I had an old fashioned, which also was at the Haven bar. You get your own bar too, which is kind of fun, and your own restaurant. It's a great place. Very expensive, but awesome. And it had these like swirls on the carpet, and then it was raining outside, so I tried to get all the like little drops that were sitting on the window. This is when we finally like started sailing. It started raining in Seattle, and I was sitting there watching the rain, drinking old fashioned. It was great. So this is the next day. The very first port we pulled into was Sitka. So basically we went to a bunch of islands, which was pretty cool. We didn't really go to mainland Alaska, I don't think at all. So this was Sitka, and I did it pretty quick, just on the deck. This was like the view from the deck, which was great. And so when we were in Sitka, that's when we went to the Fortress of the Bears and the Raptor Center, and then we got to hike around this like nice little beach area, which I'll show you a drawing I did of in a second. This boat and this seaplane I saw from the deck when we were waiting to get off of the boat. And then in the like port where we picked up our bus to take us to these places, there was a vending machine, and it had this little brown paper bag that had a disguise, and it came with this little fortune, which is on, it has stuff on the other side. Maybe I should take this piece off so you can read it. But I thought this bat mustache was so funny. So when you get the bag, like, it's a mystery disguise, and so I was like, I have to do that. And I did a second one from the same vending machine that was like a artist grab bag, and I got a button that said "Take me to Alaska," and a postcard from a local artist, And then in that same vending machine, I bought some Devil's Club Solve, which is basically like nature's aspirin, and the Tlingit people of the area use Devil's Club because it grows all over. So, like I was saying, I sat on this beach. The rest of my party went off and like did these little trails, but I went to the beach and I listened to these kids like pick up rocks and look for crabs and scream every time they saw crabs. And I watched boats go by, and I watched the wake from the boats hit the shore, and like there was these ravens that were sitting in these trees over here that were so loud, and I just loved all these rocks, so I really needed to capture them, and I'm glad I did. It was such a lovely place to draw. Let's see, I think this is, I don't know what day this is. I didn't put a date, but this is another drawing in the Horizon Lounge, me drinking a Blue Moon. I drank a lot of Blue Moons on the boat. There was also this bar called the District Brew House that I ended up at a lot. It's kind of like a tap room. They had a lot of different beers. They had Asahi, which is one of my favorites. They didn't have it on tap, but when I walked in, they knew my order was Asahi. They wouldn't even say my name. They would say Asahi, and I was like, yeah. But this was the sunset from that room at one point on the boat. I think it was like 11 p.m. when I drew this, and like that's what it looked like. It was so cool. And this guy had come over and said, "Did you draw that?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then I showed him, and I showed him the rest of the book and stuff, and him and his wife were pretty impressed. And then he came over to me and goes, "Don't take any offense to this, but fuck you in the best way." It was very endearing. And, you know, my in-laws were not very impressed by him saying that, but I thought it was funny. I mean, I totally get it. When somebody's really good at something and you're not, I get it. Fuck you in the best way, you know? And then I put that I won $900 at the casino, so that was cool. So next day in Juneau, these were boats I saw from the deck while waiting to get off the boat again. This was our excursion ticket. We went to see a glacier and we went whale watching, which was so sick. And when we went, we saw a lot of humpback whales. We saw like a pod of 3 of them, which like they said is pretty weird. Normally they're very solitary creatures, but there was a pack of 3 of them like essentially just kind of playing together. It was really cool. And then we saw a harbor seal as well. His head was poking out of the water. It was so cute. And then also when we went to the glacier, I cried in front of the glacier because I was like, wow, I cannot believe I got to see a glacier in real life before they all melt, you know? It was pretty surreal, pretty incredible. And then the same day, after we got back on the boat, we went up this fjord to Dawes Glacier, which is where I drew these. This is Dawes Glacier is what it says. These are some of the mountains on the way. And I saw a glacier today and cried. This was the sun shining on some of those mountains and making the snow just glow. So when we got to the Dawes Glacier, the boat did like a full 360, and you got to see each part of it. It was so cool. And there was like icebergs in the water, and there were sea lions like just hanging out on the icebergs. It was so cool. I think this is the same day. Yeah. So later that night, went back to the district tap room. I didn't end up inking this one, obviously, but I did like the mountains in the background, and this is my partner Max and her sister they were either talking about House of the Dragon or some other book they read, or Taylor Swift. Those are the 3 topics they talk about. So this was the next day from the Horizon Lounge. Again, I have, I think this was in the early morning, the sunrise and hitting the water, and I got that same carpet again, and this says, "Sat in the lounge alone and cried, still in total disbelief." I was in such shock that I was in Alaska, somewhere I've always wanted to be. So that same day, we went to Icy Strait Point, which I explained was a town purely created for cruise boats, but brings in local tourism to Hoona, which was back here. This was a watercolor and colored pencil drawing that I did. And so when we were sitting here, a lot of people were like skipping rocks into the water, and like there was starfish, so I had to put a little starfish. But we were sitting here, we heard this loud like crash. It sounded literally like a boat crashing into a rock. And it was this humpback who came up right here, right in front of us as we were just sitting there. It was so cool. And we got a better view of it here than we got on any other whale watching thing we did on the trip. And he came up twice, and I could not believe it, because everybody else was like, let's go ride the tram up the mountain and stuff. And I said, hold on, I want to sit here and finish this drawing. And if we had not sat there and I finished my drawing, we would not have seen that whale. And it was honestly one of the coolest moments of my life, and I'm so glad I like captured it. He didn't actually show his tail. He showed more of his like back and his fin, but come on, the tail is so cool. I had to put the tail. So here's that gondola thing, that tram I was talking about. We did go up. It was very pretty. A little scary, but very pretty. Here's just a view from outside one of the windows. Again, the District Brew House. This one, I had gone alone. I needed some alone time, and it was like late at night, and they had a guy doing piano tunes. They also had these cool framed pickaxes in there, and like a bunch of other mining stuff framed on the wall. Yeah, I really liked this, and nobody bothered me. It was great. So this is on the 20th. I didn't ink this one, obviously, but we were sitting in the atrium, the main little area of the boat. There's this top deck that you can look down on. There's a bunch of chairs, there's a piano, and we were playing Deal or No Deal. We did not win. That's okay. So our boat also had go-karts. There was a lot of weird rules and a long wait, so we didn't really end up getting to do it, but I had to draw the go-karts. This was also on the 20th. Same in the Horizon Lounge. Gosh, I realized I only drew in like 2 different places on the boat. But they were the quietest places, which I was thankful for. So they had this cool like tree sculpture that I wanted to draw the whole time we were there. And this was at maybe like 11 or 12 at night. And the moon was freaking huge. And it was just, I had to get it on the water. It was gorgeous. And it was so quiet that night, and I loved it. So the next day we also saw this like Beatles cover band on the boat, and it had these, the theater was like really nice for a cruise boat. I mean, this is my first cruise, so I guess I can't compare it to anything else, but like I was pretty impressed by this theater. And it had these cool neon lights that were going up here, and I feel like I captured a neon feel on these pretty well. The band was alright, you know, what do you expect from a cover band? So this one, it says I'm in Canada illegally. I was legally there, I just didn't have a passport. And I signed some waiver saying I can't fly out of Canada if I'm left behind, you know, whatever. So we were sitting in Victoria on this like harbor, and the sunset right there was gorgeous, and I was like, wow, this is the perfect moment to use my neon color pencils. And I love how this one came out as well. So this one was back in the Seattle airport. It says I walked around literal shit in TSA security. That is not a lie. When we were in the long line going through TSA security, there was what looked and smelled like actual shit smeared on a good portion of the floor, and a lot of people were walking around it, and I was not about to take any chances with a brown colored thing on the floor, so I walked around it too. And as soon as you walked past it, you could smell it, and it did not smell like baby shit. You know how like baby shit has a very specific smell? It smelled like human, full-grown adult shit. I have no doubt it was actual shit. That was something didn't know I needed to look out for, but going to look out for every time at an airport now. So I just did a lot of scribbles for these guys just to show the movement and stuff. They had this cool canoe sculpture that I really wanted to draw. So the rest of these are from photos I took. These are from mushrooms we saw on Batten Island. We got to like ride this little cool boat to an island that nobody lives on, and we got to do a hike through it, and there was lots and lots of mushrooms on this island, and it was so lush. And we saw a banana slug, it was gorgeous. Here's more mushrooms on a log from the photo. Here is also Benton Island. There was this tree that crashed and fell into another tree that I really liked. And so this is also from when we went to that tram or gondola up the mountain in Icy Strait Point. It says, went up the tram in Icy Strait Point and got yelled at for feeding caribou to the ravens. We don't know who the lady who yelled at us was. We don't know if she worked there or if she was just on the cruise boat herself, but she was not happy that I fed a little bit of caribou to the ravens. And this also says, the water here looked like glass. It did. It looked like you could literally just like skate across it. Like if you sat on it, you would just slide forever. It was so pretty. I also drew all of my favorite drinks on the boat. So we got the like upgraded drink package, the most upgraded one you could get. And I really liked the Johnny Walker Blue Scotch. I felt so fancy drinking these two, and I got spoiled so much that when I came back, I was like, I'm not gonna have my really expensive cognac or scotch. But yeah, I got to try Hennessy XO for the first time, and wow, every time I see that at a bar now, I'm gonna just spend the money and have it because it was so tasty. I did not know I was a cognac person, but I guess I am now. I had a lot of old fashions. They had made them really good on the boat. I liked the Alaskan Husky IPA that was at the tap room, other than the Asahi, and then they made great sidecars too. I don't know brandy because I don't know what kind of brandy they put, but I also don't know her. So, this is also done from a photo. These past ones were just from memory, but this one's from a photo. These were starfish we saw at Icy Strait Point. They were right next to each other, and they were such cool colors and shapes, and we actually got to touch some when we were on Benton Island. They had some on rocks that they were allowing everybody to touch, and they have such a weird texture, not what you would really expect. But yeah, happy with how that one came out. And this is the last drawing. This was a plant I saw in Juneau. These were totem poles I saw in Sitka, I believe. And yeah, I think, I have maybe like an eighth of the book left, or either a quarter or an eighth left, and I think I'm gonna finish it with some stuff I've done from photos, but no guarantee. Regardless, pretty happy with all the drawings I did. Wish I could have had more time to do more, but we did so many excursions and there were so many activities to do. So I encourage you to have your own travel sketchbook to be able to look back on later. So it's like a scrapbook, I'm probably gonna go in and tape some more stuff I have, and yeah, like I said, I will throw links to supplies I bought for this in the description, and hope you liked it. Go make some art or whatever, and like and subscribe or whatever. Thanks guys, bye.